Hello, gentle souls. Oh boy. I'm really excited right now. We just finished the studio session at Todd Geek's house, or Fast Fret Fingers, whatever you want to call them. It went swimmingly. I had a really good time. It's okay to spoil it now. We actually had Ryan Sorensen of the Disraeli Dreamers in studio. We talked about a bunch of really cool stuff. He's one of my favorite people in the scene. Like, there's only a few people at his level of great guyness, and his band is just easily one of the best bands in the scene. The songwriting from that band is just stratospheric for quality. For what they put out. So I was really, really glad to have him on the show. He's probably the number one guy I've wanted on the show since Witch Police, because we got Witch Police on the show as well. So it was great. So my number one and number two are done. I got them both on the show. Exciting time. So what do we talk about? We talked about some really cool stuff. I'm wondering how quick I can edit this stuff and get it out. But we talked about kind of the local music scene, the nature of what shows are looking like, how shows are booked. Not how shows are booked, but kind of the nature of the market right now, and really interesting stuff. And to get someone with his level of expertise kind of talk about this stuff is really, really great. We did that in our hour one. We talked about the music scene. And that as a general topic anyway. And then in the second one, we played Five Faces of Geek. We talked about his 5 favorite upcoming comic book movies. And that was a lot of fun. So what else is going on? Well, on the writing front, I can share what's going on over there. On the writing front, this really weird thing happened. As you know, those that follow the show, I changed a few things throughout the book, sprinkled. I made a couple of changes, a couple of additions, things that were kind of weak points. And what I did is I added little bits and pieces in the book. So what happens is, and in the final, the big action sequence, the big finale action sequence, it actually impacted what happened in that scene. So as I'm editing that scene and I'm, making a couple of changes in it to accommodate what I sprinkled through the rest of the book on this edit, the ending, even though the ending didn't change per se, it did change. And it changed in a way that I didn't even see coming. And that's what I like about writing. You may have a plan in place. You may have an idea of how it's going to play out. But once you actually get down to writing it, it ends up not being what that is about at all. How do I say? I don't want to spoil anything. I also want to kind of hint at what's going to happen. Let's just say that a particular character is going to get a huge boost in the ending of the book and a huge boost in the sequel. There is going to be a sequel. There has to be a sequel at this point. The way that the final sequence plays out, redoing the epilogue. In fact, I have to completely rewrite the epilogue to accommodate everything that happened or how everything played out. And the second book, I knew tonally it was going to have a different look. It was going to play out a lot differently. But now, completely different. Not from what I envisioned. I envisioned how the second one was going to play out. It's not going to play out that way at all. It's going to be a very cool piece. And the focus, I'm not going to tell you which character it is, but the focus is definitely going to be on one of the characters. And it's going to be their story. And it's actually going to fill in a lot of gaps. There are gaps that my wife said I had. So they're going to fill in a lot of those gaps. It's going to not fix things, but it's just going to be a much better story in the way that I'm laying it out. So very excited to do a sequel. So interestingly enough, as I'm writing the epilogue, I'm also, because I use Scrivener, Scrivener works really good for writing your book, for making notes. Is this a paid advertisement for Scrivener? No. I just like the product. Scrivener, if you want to support me, if you want to sponsor me, I've done a lot of pimping for your product. Please contact me and we can discuss terms. Anyway, because I use Scrivener, as I'm writing the book, I always have a second pane open within the program that allows me to capture notes. So as I'm writing something and I have an idea for something else, I just continually add notes on where I can go from there. So they're notes that I use to, I got to make sure I talk about this later in the book, notes like that, but also I have a separate file, especially in this part of the book, where I'm talking about where I plan to go with the book 2 or book 3. Currently envisioning this as a 4-book series. I don't want to do a trilogy. Trilogy is overdone, overblown. It might be a 2-book series with a second series follows. Maybe I'll do a series of 2 books. But anyway, whatever. I haven't figured that part out yet, but I'm very excited. I have a direction for what to do in a sequel. I have the tone of what a sequel would look like. Man, I'm excited. Freaking cool shit, man. Besides that, I got to watch It. The first It movie. The one that came out last year, year before, or whatever it was. It's on Netflix, so the wife and I watched it on Friday night. Today is Sunday. And what a great film. Actually, I really, really enjoyed it. I've never seen the original It. I've never read the book. I've read a few Stephen King books, but not that particular one. Thoroughly enjoyed the movie. Sylvia and I kind of stopped watching scary movies when Abby was born because your sensibilities as a human being completely change, and there's certain things you just can't seem to watch anymore. Some of it has to do with attention span. Some of it has to do with your gut, what you can actually stomach. There's certain things we just can't stomach anymore. Horror movies kind of fell off the radar for us for a lot of those reasons, but Sylvia was a huge fan of the original It from, I don't know, the 90s or whatever it was. John Ritter was in it, I know that much, and Tim Curry was in it. And the movie was really good. I didn't realize it would have that Stand By Me vibe. I'm not surprised, considering Stephen King wrote Stand By Me. But Stand By Me is one of my favorite films of all time, and I didn't realize it was going to play similarly to that. I didn't even know it was about a bunch of kids. That's how far removed I was from what it was about. One of the reasons I never watched it, one of the prime reasons, is my fear of clowns. Now, is it an irrational fear of clowns? No. Clowns just scare me. I don't see a clown and run in the other direction. Like, they just do creep me out. They've always creeped me out. And after watching this film, they creep me out even more. So, one thing we were going to talk about in the podcast today, which I totally missed the mark on, my wife had a dream last night, so I'm going to tag Todd in this because I want Todd, Fast Red Fingers, to listen to this particular episode. But she had a dream last night that Todd and me, I guess, and Sylvie, we were in one of those competition shows, kind of like The Voice, or one of those, but it was based around a band this time. And in the dream she had, the sequence where, because I think you're also filming a video, there's a performance video aspect to it, I guess. But in the scene where Todd's playing the guitar solo, he's in an office building, one of those office buildings, cute little farm, lots of windows. He's playing there, but he's dressed up like this avant-garde clown. He had a bowler hat on, so not the funny clowns, but more like the serious artistic clowns, and he is ripping a guitar solo, just ripping through it. And he's playing in his office and just ripping the solo dressed up as a clown. I want to see my man Corey draw Todd as a clown. I don't know if that would work, if you could pull something like that off, if you could even tell it was Todd. But a ripping avant-garde, think Marcel Marceau, or what was that his name, Marcel Marceau? I don't know where she came up with this, but it was like the weirdest thing. But yes, I saw it. It was good, and that dream is the weirdest thing. My wife has the weirdest dreams. I also want to see that as a music video. Anyway, other than that, going back to the family, we're going to go do something. I don't know what it is. It looks like it's going to be a beautiful day outside today. I want to remind you guys to come down next Sunday, the second annual Manitoba Podcast Festival. It'll be September 29th, Sunday, September 29th, between noon and 4. You're going to get the Sean Geek crowd there. Me and my brother. I don't think we're going to have Corey Geek with us because there is a train festival the same day that he's going to, which if he doesn't take his kid, he'd be in a lot of trouble. But anyway, we're going to be there. We're going to have a good time. You're going to get to see some of your favorite podcasts. Thick and Sweaty, Stephen Richards, his beloved. It's a really good show. It's funny as hell. Stephen's just, I don't know. And his lady, she might actually be the funnier of the two, to be honest. But what a great pair, what a great new show. Stephen's back with his own podcast. Outside of that, what else we got? Witch Police, of course, Witch Police is there. We've got Roger, who's one of the big wigs behind the scenes. I like that guy. You know, that guy's he's an understated, funny guy. KJOP Films, is that right? Hopefully I'm getting that right. Check him out. He's a good dude. Beaver Does Movies. He runs a good show. He's been around 50 plus episodes now. He's killing it. Killing it. Who else is going to be there? I don't know who else is going to be there, but it sounds like there's a good chance the Primarily Critical crew will be there. That is definitely one of my favorite podcasts that I listen to regularly. I think that's a show where the personalities on the show, it's really about the personalities on the show. And the format of the show is really just an excuse for them to have something to talk about. But that's a show where the personalities, the blending of those personalities together is just perfect. It's better than any radio morning show you're going to find. If these guys had a radio morning show, I'd be listening to radio again. Who else is I'm hoping is going to be there? I'm hoping Paper Cuts is there, and I'm hoping the Winnipeg Music Project is there. There are two other shows that I listen to quite frequently. Really enjoy. They are amazing local shows. What's Golden podcast? I want to put a shout out to those guys. Those guys they don't have the podcast yet, but I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to force them to make it happen. That was one of the guys that in the post meetings for the last year's podcast festival that I met up with. That guy that we spoke to that came out to that meeting. This guy's going to have a great show. He just needs to get out there and do it. We're also going to see the Beers with Bras with Beers with Bras. They're going to be out there. That is one of out of last year's podcast festival. That was a breakout star making vehicle in my opinion. That show was great. I really liked what they did. I also liked how they tied in with Sam from Witch Police in their headlines when they were talking about the meth headline sort of stuff. I thought that was just brilliant comedy. geez, what else? Well, like, what other podcasts are we listening? What else is local? There's so many. There's so many good ones. Super Paul Podcast, GMB Chomachuk, one of my favorite people ever. On the artistic side of things, I have my triumvirate of favorite artists. When I say favorite artists, I like their art, but I also like them. So human being, artist, and philanthropic great people. That triumvirate of great artist people in the city, or not necessarily the city, but no, not the city. My favorite artists: number 1, Corey Taves; number 2, Lar D'Souza; number 3, GMB Chomachuk. They're in no particular order. I just listed them that way. Go check those people out. They are the greatest, 3 of the greatest human beings I've ever met. And on the artistic side of things, they are the 3 greatest human beings on the artistic side that I've met. Check out their works. Greg, hopefully you can make it out, or at least your co-hosts would be great to come out to the podcast festival. Again, it's September 29th. It starts at noon. We run till 4. I have no idea what we're doing from the Sean Geek podcast. I have a few ideas. I want you guys to come out and meet us. We're going to have some merch to sell. That stuff's been ordered, and hopefully you should have it just in time to sell. I want to sell out. We will have shirts to sell. I want to sell out. I want to sell out. Make it a thing, because if we sell out this run of the shirts, we're going to be doing something a little bit different on the second run of shirts. Outside of that, thanks to Ryan for coming in today. It was fun, actually. The first hour is kind of all business. The second hour was super fun. We actually talked about some really good stuff, and I really want to have Ryan back on the show to talk about stuff. Landmark announcement to me was that Disraeli are still working together. The Facebook page is back up at Disraeli Dreamers, one word. Disraeli, look up the highway. Disraeli bridge, I mean. For the spelling, DISRAELIDREAMERS. Yes, grammar whiz guy here. Check him out. Anyway, we will see you guys on the flip side. This is the last episode of these shorter pod a day. Tomorrow we're back to the regular episode, which is really good. We talk about Jessica Jones. We'll see you guys on the flip side.